Imagine a moment when the silence of your heart is broken by a voice, a soft but powerful voice, a voice that seems to come from within, but also from the outside. It is the voice of the divine, a murmur that can only be heard by those who are ready, those who are chosen. When we talk about being chosen, we are not talking about a terrestrial elite. The chosen are not chosen by human criteria, but by the purity of their soul, by their incessant quest for truth, and by their desire to transcend the limits of the material world. These divine instructions are not orders but revelations, lights that come to light the way for those who are ready to receive. In the scriptures there is a story of Eli, a prophet who desperately sought the voice of God. He was waiting for a great demonstration of power, but God did not speak to him in the hurricane, nor in the shaking of the earth, nor in the fire. Instead, God spoke to Eli in a soft and light murmur. Only those who have an attentive ear, a calm heart, can hear this divine murmur. Do you think you are ready to hear this murmur? Is your heart calm enough to perceive the sweet voice of truth? To understand why only the elected ones hear these instructions, we must first explore the concept of spiritual selection. It is not a selection based on strength or intelligence, but on the opening of the heart. Spiritual selection is a process where each human being is called, but only those who respond to this call with sincerity and humility are chosen. In ancient times, the path to spiritual knowledge was a journey reserved for those who were ready to sacrifice their ego to embrace humility. Spiritual mysteries, these hidden truths of the universe, were protected by circles of initiates who met in secret schools. This place was not marked by opulence or material grandeur, but by an inner quest, silent and profound. Imagine yourself in those ancient times when access to knowledge was not determined by your wealth or your power, but by your ability to give up on something greater than yourself. The secret schools, such as those of the Egyptian mysteries or the schools of Pythagoras in Greece, were sanctuaries of wisdom where the initiates learned to see beyond appearances. The selection of students was not based on their birth or social status. On the contrary, those who sought to enter these schools had to first prove their ability to remain humble in the face of the mysteries of the universe. They had to show a willingness to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn, leaving aside their prejudices, their limiting beliefs, and their attachment to the things of the world. Let's take the example of Pythagoras himself, who traveled to Egypt and Mesopotamia in search of spiritual wisdom. During his initiation into Egyptian mysteries, he would have spent years preparing himself, purifying his mind and body before being able to access the hidden teachings. Pythagoras understood that in order to access the truth, he first had to get rid of his ego, become humble, and show himself worthy of receiving these divine revelations. In our modern world, where everything seems accessible in a few clicks, this idea can seem archaic. However, true wisdom still requires an inner preparation. It demands from us that we abandon our certainties, that we cultivate an attitude of receptivity, and that we be ready to be transformed by those we discover. So I ask you the question, are you ready to respond to the call of the divine with a humble heart? What keeps you from completely opening your mind to this transcendent experience? Perhaps it is the fear of the unknown or the attachment to your preconceived ideas. Perhaps the ego, this guardian of our comfort, prevents you from venturing beyond what you already know. The path of humility is not easy, but it is essential to receive the divine instructions, because it is only by abandoning our desire to understand everything that we can truly understand God. It does not cry to draw our attention, but whispers to our soul. Only those who have learned to read between the lines, to perceive beyond the veil of illusion, can understand their profound meaning. The chosen ones are those who have sharpened their perception, those who have learned to see beyond appearances. They know that the divine truth is not always accessible in a direct way. Sometimes it is concealed in the moments of daily life, in synchronicities, or even in trials. The truth, like a precious gem, must be sought with perseverance, because it does not give way to those who do nothing but pass. There is an old Sufi story that tells that a man was seeking wisdom. He had heard of a great sage who held all the secrets of the universe. This man traveled far, crossing deserts and mountains to find this sage. When he finally met him, he asked him, "Who are you? Where can I find wisdom?" The sage smiled and replied, "Wisdom is hidden in the simple things of life. The perplexed man has returned home. He spent years looking for this wisdom in complicated books, in temples and monasteries, but he still couldn't find it. One day, tired from his quest, he sat down by a stream. As he watched the water flow gently, he suddenly understood. Wisdom was not in books or temples, but in the flow of life itself, in the simplicity of being. The stream, with its tranquility, taught him more than all the wise words he had heard. It was then that he realized that the divine truth was always present, hidden in the obvious. But only those who are ready to search for it can find it. Can you find the divine instructions in the simple aspects of your life? Are you ready to search for the truth in places where you never thought you would find it? Often we complicate our spiritual research, thinking that the truth must be hidden in esoteric teachings or complex practices. But the reality is that divine wisdom is omnipresent. In every breath it can be found. In every meeting, in every moment of inner peace, the key is to develop a spiritual vision, an ability to see what is hidden from the ordinary eye. The chosen are those who learn to interpret the symbols of life, to listen to the murmurs of their intuition, and to follow the signs that the universe sends them. The truth is there, always present, but it requires a pure intention and a sincere quest to be revealed, to hear the divine instructions, and to win. It's not enough to open your ears, you have to open your soul. Spiritual listening is an art, a state of being that transcends physical listening. It is a listening that is done with the heart, with the mind, with all our essence. It is what allows the chosen ones to understand truths that others cannot even conceive. This spiritual listening is a gift, but also a discipline. It requires practice, patience, and above all, total openness, to those who are beyond the material. The chosen ones, by cultivating this listening, become receptive to the subtle message of the divine, to the hidden truth in silence, to the answers that come without us actively seeking them. In the Gospels, Jesus often spoke in parables, simple stories with profound meanings. 16 disciples asked him why he used this symbolic language rather than speaking clearly. Jesus answered them, "Who are you? Because to you it was given to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it has not been given, for we will give to him who has. And it will be in abundance, but to him who has not, we will give even what he has." It was not a question of favoritism, but of receptivity. Those who were ready to listen with their soul could understand the mysteries hidden in the parables, while those who were not spiritually open remained in ignorance. Jesus knew that the truth could not be imposed. It must be discovered by those who are ready to receive it. Are you ready to listen with your soul? Can you put aside the distractions of the world to hear the deep truths that God whispers to you? Spiritual listening requires a certain solitude, an ability to withdraw from the noise of daily life to enter inner silence. It is in this silence that the deepest truths are revealed. Spiritual listening is not passive. It is active, involving all our attention, our intention, and our love. It is a sacred dialogue between the soul and the divine, where each word, each silence is meaningful. Only those who are ready to fully engage in this listening can access the hidden mysteries of the universe and thus live a life guided by divine wisdom. In the Gospels, Jesus often spoke in parables. 16 disciples asked him why he used this symbolic language. He answered that the mysteries of the kingdom were revealed to those who had ears to hear, but that for others everything remained veiled. This distinction was not a question of favoritism, but of the ability to hear with the mind. Are you ready to listen with your soul? Can you put aside the distractions of the world to hear the deep truths that God whispers to you? The divine instructions are not there simply to be heard, but to be lived. They have the power to completely transform the lives of those who follow them. The elected are transformed by their obedience to these instructions, by their ability to integrate these truths into every aspect of their lives. St. Paul, formerly Saul, persecuted the Christians until they heard the voice of Jesus on the way to Damascus. This experience transformed persecutor to an apostle, from someone who destroyed to someone who built the kingdom of God on earth. It was not the voice in itself that caused this transformation, but Paul's response to this divine instruction. Are you ready to allow these instructions to transform your life? What transformation is possible for you if you listen and follow the divine directives? Only the chosen ones will listen to these divine instructions. But this choice is in your hands. You can choose to be among those who hear, who listen, who transform. The path is difficult, but the reward is eternal peace, a profound understanding, and an unwavering connection with the divine. The Apocalypse speaks of the chosen as those who will have the name of God engraved on their foreheads, a symbol of their devotion and their faithful listening. These chosen are not special by nature, but by their choice to follow the divine truth. At all costs, will you respond to the call today? Will you be among those who listen and who are transformed by these divine instructions?